Okay, so let's look at assignment number 3, part 2. And again, I'll just help you get started on that. You might be totally rusty on this stuff. But when we solve a system of equations, a system just means, at least for what we know right now, 2 equations with 2 variables. You could have 3 variables, but you would need three equations to solve that. And we'll do that later. Okay, and all we're going to start with today are linear systems. So the way that you do this is you look to see if either one of these are solved for a variable. Because if they are, that's good. So the first one's solved for y. So what I do is I take that and I plug it in for y in the second equation. Okay, so when I'm showing this on my separate piece of paper, I always write the original problem. Don't skip that step. That's sort of like writing a paragraph and you don't put an opening sentence. Okay, so I know that this is going to go in here. So now I'm going to rewrite this equation right here, but instead of the y, I'm going to put in 2x. And then I go back to equals 12. So I should only have one variable. That's how I know I did it right. Okay, well now it's nice and easy. 3x is equal to 12. Divide both sides by 3. And x is, so always read down, 12 divided by 3 is 4. Now I'm actually looking for, well, what if I graph these? If I graph these, where's the point that they would cross? The solution. So I got to get a y value. So in order to get the y value, I'm just going to take this x, and I'm going to plug it right back in up here. So y is 2 times x is 4, so y equals 8. Now, if I look at the answers, they're all down here in coordinate form. So that means that's how I need to put my answer, the same way that they are in the bubble. And remember when we do coordinates, it's alphabetical order. It always goes x and then y. So my solution is 4, 8. Okay, and so then I'm going to box that, and I'm going to check to make sure it's on here. And there it is, so I would just cross it out. Now, let's say I'm taking a test, and I don't have an answer bubble, or a quiz. The way I know that I did it right is that this point should work in both equations. Well, let's see in the top one. We said that y was 8. Oops. 8 should equal 2 times 4. It does. It works in the top equation, but you got to make sure it works in both. Okay, the bottom equation, x plus y, 4 plus 8, should equal 12, and it does. So I know for sure I'm right. That's how you make sure you do well on quizzes and tests. Go back and check that answer. Okay, so let's look at something a little bit harder. So notice the first 5. They all are already solved for a variable. So like on number 2, the top one is solved for x. So I would take this and plug it in for x right there. Okay, this one, the top one is solved for y. So I'm going to take this. Now I'm going to tell you, lots of people make mistakes on this one because you would need a parenthesis. When you plug that in for y, you got to put minus and then a parenthesis. Okay, otherwise you're going to get it wrong. Okay, in this one, the bottom equation is solved for x. So I take that, and when I plug it in, I just plug it in for x. I don't plug it in for 2x. So when I rewrite this, it would be 2 times x, which is 4y plus 1, and then minus 3y equals 12. Okay, now let's go to number 6. Okay, so when I'm on number 6, it's not solved for a variable already. So I've got to pick a variable to solve for. I never want to pick a variable that has a number on it, because then I'm going to get fractions. It's going to be a big mess. So always look for a variable that's all by itself. I could solve for y, or I could solve for x. Doesn't matter. I like solving for x because it's just easier, because it's already positive. So this y has to come over here. So then I have that x equals, and I could put y plus 2 or 2 plus y, it doesn't matter. And remember that if something goes from one side of the equals to the other, it changes sign. Okay, so now that is going to get plugged in right there. Okay, so hopefully this helps you get a good start. And if you have any questions, we'll go over those tomorrow.